I don't give a what you look like. Anyways.
Anywho.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Inside Out Universe. I'm happy you guys are here for the first time ever on this podcast. I have drank a little bit before we got on the podcast, just a couple shots, nothing that serious. But we'll see how serious it gets as the night goes on. I have a really, really special guest on here today. It's actually a very, very amazing timing for this interview to happen because we filmed prior. We just weren't happy with the footage. At least I wasn't happy with the footage because I was having a particularly rough day that day. So I asked if we could record again, and I'm glad we did because it happens to be the day after my current guest's big show. And it wasn't just a show, it was a release party, an album release party. My guest is 6 a.m. His Instagram is official 6 a.m. He's an artist of many, many sorts. He just released an album called What Goes Around. So you guys can check that out. But yeah, hi 6.
Hi Mom Dot. How you doing?
How you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing? That was amazing. That was a really good intro.
Yeah, the tequila really began me.
That was really, honestly, really good. Thank you.
Thanks. So how's everything?
It's good. I feel very blessed, very privileged right now. And there's honestly, like, if, we're just like growing and something like what happened the other day was awesome. And then to come here, it makes me feel like a real, like, superstar. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. You are a superstar and I'm so happy. It really is divine timing. So yesterday was your big night.
Yeah.
How was it?
It turned out a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I lost my voice, so I'm still like kind of getting that back.
For sure.
But it was amazing. You were there.
Yeah, it was great.
It was amazing, and there were so many supportive people, and people loved the most important thing, to be honest, people loved the music. They had a good time, and like those were the two things I was most worried about, because you tell people to come and love your art, look at this, and you're worried, like, what if I made this person take time out of their day, money out of their pocket, to come support me, and they didn't like the art.
Well, I was in the audience and I'm telling you right now, everybody loved every second of it. The party was great. So he had, if you're in Toronto, Lobby. He had Lobby completely rented out for him and his friends and everybody. And it was a lot of people there. And I pulled up and I didn't get the memo that it was an all black party. So I showed up in wearing white. And it's actually really funny. It was really good. I'll tell them that story too. And it was really good. There was a lot of people. All your friends were there. Your brother was there. There was, I recognized a lot of people, which was really nice. You were a superstar. It was your night and you owned it. It wasn't just your night because you threw the party or because you were behind it. It was your night because everybody could see that, like, it was about you. Like, you made that night your bitch. So it was great. He performed his album. The album, guys, I'm not gonna lie, I swear on everything, and this is not coming from a biased place, it actually friggin' slaps. I was there when he was making a lot of the songs. I had listened to them a little bit like prior, but when I heard them and he was performing them last night, I honestly was just like, there was a moment where everybody looked around like, yo, this is fucking crazy. And I definitely have favorites on that album, but they're all great.
No, that means a lot, to be honest. And it was honestly like, because I was wearing like glasses that had tints on them, so I couldn't see into the crowd and I couldn't tell if people liked the music, but I saw like your face. You were at the front, you know what I mean? Like, there's certain people, Indie, AK, like people who came to the front that honestly, like, if I didn't see your guys' faces, I maybe would have thought no one cared. Like, at the end of the night, when Arsham looked at me and he was like, do you know how many people came? And I was like, I don't know, like 40, 50 people. He's like, bro, there was 150 people there.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I was confused, like, I didn't realize I did that. So to like have you say that, to be honest with you, like, after all of it, it means a lot, because I don't know if y'all know, but she's a superstar herself. And
I retired.
She retired. That's like Michael Jordan when he retired, and like what was it, fucking 94, 95.
Dude, don't compare me to Michael
93,
Jordan.
93, 94, I think, is when he retired, and then the Rockets won those 2 years, whatever years those were. And you did that, like,
thank you,
of course, because every time
this is about you though. You fucking, honestly, I'm gonna tell you the truth, aside from the music and everything, like, you could just tell in the room how much love you had and how much, like, people genuinely loved you, and that was really dope to watch. I was looking around, but I also couldn't see things because I was wearing these glasses called alcohol. I was fucking blackout. I went in at first, I was having fun or whatever, and everything was good. And then I was like, I should drink. And then I kept drinking because I was having so much fun. And I literally, up until the very last minute where everybody was like, the party was done, I was like just dancing with Poroshat, who's also been on this podcast.
And she's my cousin.
And yeah, she's his cousin. And it was great. It was so much fun. And the funny part that I was going to tell you guys is it was an all black party. I didn't know because I don't really go on Instagram like that. And so I had no idea. So then I pull up to the party and I walk in and I see him and he's wearing white and I'm wearing white. And I went up to him and I was like, how are you? Whatever. We talked for a little bit. And I was like, dude, how dope is it that you and I are both wearing white and everybody else is wearing black? And he looks at me and he goes, yeah, that's because it's an all black party. And I was like, bro, I'm so sorry. I was like, I'll go home and change. And of course I didn't mean that, but I still offered.
Honestly, if I said yes, she's such a rider, she would have done it. No, you're such a real one, but there's never would have wanted
my
that.
pants were black, so when I was talking to his brother, I was like, dude, every time the camera comes around, I'm just gonna do a handstand, get my pants up top. But yeah, it was good. It was really, really good. Like I don't know how you saw it, but from where I was standing and from talking to everybody when we went outside and like whatever, everyone was saying that it was amazing.
And that makes me happy. It was honestly like such a process. I've never in my life done something like that, and I organized it, like me and my team, we organized this thing top to bottom, doing the album, being on the top of everything. So I never did that. I guess to me, like, to see that people had a good time is like the definition of what success is to me, because all I was focused on was like, okay, I made great music. Like when the album's done, you know. And when people pulled up and I saw you were smiling, laughing, dancing, everyone was smiling, laughing, dancing, it was like, okay, I did what I was supposed to do. Like, yeah. I just want people to feel good. Like that's why, like, y'all loving the music. I don't know. It was.
You finished the album. He played the album and like kind of like performed to it, and like honestly, it was so sick because he was like performing. The music's blasting. He's in the crowd, and he's dancing with his brother. That was my favorite moment, is you and Arsham dancing together, and then Rocco, who was also on the podcast, who produced the whole thing, was there, and they were dancing, and it was just. It seemed like it honestly was like something out of like a freaking movie. It was crazy, and then it had your touch all over it. And I love when I see artists who do these kinds of things don't just give up complete creative freedom to other people, and like you can see that it's them who put everything together, because they came around and they started passing out these like cassettes, and I don't know if you guys can see it, it's right there, I put it right there, it's and he has like a little barcode on the back where you could scan his music, but it's like a cassette, and I love old school shit, so I seen this and I was like, yo, this is dope. And I looked at Ali and I was like, I think it was Ali, and I was like, who made this? And he was like, I don't know, him. I was like, I knew it, this has 6 a.m. written all over it. But yeah, it was really, really cool. It was fun vibes. The music's amazing. You guys should definitely check it out. What's your favorite song on the album?
That's a good question.
There's people outside being way too drunk, which honestly, same. Go on.
Honestly, like, this is the first time I ever had a project where like I can't pick a favorite. It's the first time I've ever made like any music where I was like, I don't know what I like the most, because it depends on my mood. Because this was the first time like I made music where I wasn't thinking about anybody else. It was just coming.
That's how it should be.
But I feel like as an artist, because like people who make art and they want to like actually pursue it as a career end up in this weird dilemma where you are like, what are people gonna like? What's gonna go viral? What's gonna look good? And like everyone is like, look at this guy's clip. He got 300 million views.
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit when Rocco was on the podcast, and that honestly, like, even when I did used to make music for the brief time that, like, obviously you're a friggin' veteran when it comes to this shit, but like I completely relate to that. It's very hard to balance like giving the audience what they want and then also not like completely letting yourself go insane thinking about what people want.
Yeah, and then compromising your creativity, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
I think like the most beautiful thing about that whole project for me was like, I was like, I don't care what happens. I was just like, I'm gonna make music. I have a few of these songs ready. You were there for a lot of them, and I was like, I need to just complete this. I see a vision, and this time I'm just not gonna listen to my boys. I'm not gonna listen to anybody. It was just me and Rocco and Curls. You know what I mean? Like, had Ali G, Parsa, whatever, they gave their opinions, but like really at the end of it, it was me and Rocco and then Ali, like Curls, and that's it. And,
yeah.
And I just told myself, I'm like, whatever happens, I don't care. I made a project that.
And me, because I listened to it and I said, hey, fix this part.
Oh, of course. No, you already had your input on that too. But
You gotta give me that.
of course, no. Without you, that verse would have been quiet, and then that would have been worse. But I love all the songs. I'm just happy. I would honestly say, like, if I had to pick one right now in this very moment, after seeing everyone's reaction, it's Dance Now, because everybody loved Dance Now. And
That's so funny because I realized from yesterday that was your favorite because you brought it up a few times. But that's actually not my favorite song on the album. My favorite song on the album is, what is it called? You know which one it is. 1, 2, 5, 4, 3.
oh, it's Gassed Up.
Gassed Up is
Yeah.
one of my favorite ones. And then my other, I like Mad at Him too. And I also like, what was the second song on the album?
Oh, took over the world.
Oh yeah, that's crazy. Is that the one where you're like North Pole, South Pole?
No, that's the first track. That's the Yin and
Oh,
Yang.
that one. Yeah, that one. I like that one.
Yeah, that one near and dear to anybody that's extreme, you know.
Yeah, that was really good. And like, it's just funny because when we were in the crowd and like you first started playing the album, that song came on and everybody turned around and we were all at the bar getting drinks and we all turned around and looked at each other like, yo, this is serious. It was really good. It was really, really good. I'm very happy for you.
No, thank you.
What did you do after?
I chilled with the boys. We cleaned up, and then I went back to the hotel and went to bed, and that was it.
How was that? You didn't want to have like a crazy adventurous night after your big show?
I was tired. Wasn't really thinking much. Like, I was just kind of I was in awe. Like, it didn't really hit me. Like, even the next day when I woke up, I didn't charge my phone or anything. It died in the middle of the night.
You should have got yourself a nice little masseuse to come over and give you a nice little massage.
I would have loved that. If anybody is down to do like masseuse work right
but
after
not just
a show,
any kind of masseuse, like one of those like Russian masseuse, you know, the ones with like, you know.
like an Olga,
Yeah,
give
exactly.
me a nice
The
massage.
ones that could like manhandle the fuck out of you.
Yeah, why not? I would love that.
Yeah.
Give me some neck massages.
Give you a nice little wank after your show.
A quick one, right? A quick little
Quick
wank.
little wank.
A quick little wank. A quick little wanker, yeah.
But yeah, no, it was great. So now enough about you. But anyways, is what you're wearing some of your merch?
Yeah, this is my merch.
It looks sick.
Thank you. Yeah, it's for the album.
It's fire. Where do we get access to this merch?
You can get access to the merch and the album at its6am.com. Spelled the way it sounds.
It's crazy. There's a little snake eating its tail that says 6 a.m. on the sleeve. That's really cool. And it says what goes around on the sweater.
I don't know if people can see that, but yeah.
It's pretty cool. I really like it. Does it have the snake on the back too?
Yeah, I think on the back of the neck.
Yeah, I see it. That's crazy. Yeah, I really like that idea. That's really cool.
Thanks.
I kind of miss making music.
Oh, I tell you all the time. I've been telling you this.
Yeah,
I'm a fan.
It was fun for me, but I get a little too crazy when I tap into that side of my personality.
You know what I think you should try to do, and it's all in all fun, you know? I think you should experiment with other sounds of music.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm doing like vocal classes and stuff now. I took up a couple instruments and things like that. I'm having fun. There's like, for me, I love music so much I could never abandon it like entirely. So it's not a matter of like making music or being involved in music. I'm always going to be involved in music. It's just a matter of whether or not I want to come back and put my music out. One thing I really do miss though is I love freestyling. Like that's one of like my favorite things. And like I don't mean freestyling like you're with a bunch of people or like whatever. Like I always see those interviews where they ask artists to like freestyle, and I'm like, if I were there, I would literally fucking have a brain aneurysm because I get so anxious. But like I like doing it when I'm on my ones. Like when I was in Chicago, whenever I would just like have some free time at my place, I would just put on a nice beat and like do a little 1-2, and then I'd post it on Instagram.
Yeah,
It was
no.
fun.
If y'all haven't heard, is it still on your Instagram that like? Was it my big
my
dick energy don't fit in your mind frame? I did not mind game. Yo, that shit, that is a crazy freestyle.
Thank you. I like that one.
I'm telling y'all,
Yeah.
she has the sauce. If
Thank
she wanted
you.
to, anything you want to do. in
I
life, you can
archive
do that.
them for now, but that's because I'm a kind of person, you know me, like you literally walked in and I have no furniture. Like I just the other day was like, I need new furniture. I'm going to redesign everything. I was up till 4 a.m. painting everything in my house. I like reinventing myself and reinventing things. That's why I have such a difficult time with social media, because social media is forever. You know what I mean? So like if you come around on social media and want to reinvent yourself, it's very hard, especially with the culture that we have now where everybody wants to hold you accountable to a version of you that doesn't even exist anymore. Now I'm very like picky and choosy with like what I put out in terms of like what best represents me and what I think could continue to represent me even if I did change a little bit here and there.
No, I respect that.
Yeah.
But I have a question. Can I like pick at something?
Sure.
So you said social media is forever.
Mm.
But like at the same time, don't you kind of feel like you post something on social media and the next day something else happens and people forget about it?
No, it depends. You know, we're in a very dangerous social media culture right now, where it's like, if somebody has a vendetta against you, and we talked a lot about cancel culture with like Rocco, and I have a balanced opinion about it. I think there's some pros and some cons, but it's come to a point where if you put material out on social media, and if for any reason at any time somebody has a personal vendetta against you for whatever reason, valid or not, they could patch enough material together to make you look like an absolute doofus. And as much as hypothetically, when you think about that, you're like, well, I mean, I'm not, so I don't care. I represent myself, this and that. Now everybody's social media is so closely tied to their work, their life, their family, their whatever, that it's like, it takes a toll, you know? So you don't want to make yourself vulnerable, you know? I don't like to expose my neck, metaphorically speaking.
No, I understand that. I respect that. There's a certain vulnerability that you have to be on social media like that. But
yeah,
you're doing that right now.
You know what it is? Like, I'm too, social media is weird because I thrive on social media because I have that kind of personality where I'm like, yo, I could just let loose and just whatever. But at the same time, I'm the kind of person where I'm like, I could cause a lot of chaos in social media too. So I'm like, let me just dip my toe in for now. But I have some things coming. I'm excited, as obviously this podcast is one of them, and I'm doing more creative stuff all around. But anyways, so let's get down to the nitty gritty of it all. It's you and why? This is not hostile at all. Here, you want some? You should have some.
You have one with me?
Maybe.
All right.
Turn the label around. Yeah. They can get a sponsorship with coins. Not kidding. I was like, who are you? You have 5 views. Like,
you're a superstar.
Thank you.
I promise you that.
Thank you.
If it ain't now, it'll be.
I try.
No,
it's either me or the Russian masseuse. Go on. Drink it. For everybody who doesn't know, I'm just gonna put this out there right now. Me and 6 a.m. used to date. Let's just get that out there. If you guys sense any kind of hostility, it's previous relationship trauma mixed with a really dope friendship and a whole lot of gang shit.
And banter.
And banter. Friendly and unfriendly banter.
I love you. Genuinely.
Thanks.
No problem.
No, I have love for you too. It's just sometimes it's hard to navigate my friendship with you, you know? I don't, you know, you and I have such an interesting, like, relationship because even when we were in a relationship, the relationship wasn't the significant part of the relationship. The relationship was the most important part was the understanding and the connection we had. And that will never go away. It never went away when we broke up. It didn't go away when, you know, we were more distant friends, whatever. So I just don't know how to, like, justify that to the world. Like, how do I explain how do we explain to everybody in the world that, hey, we're not together anymore, but we love each other and this is my soulmate?
Firstly, well said.
Thank you.
Of course. And I will say that we talked about this before, like in private. We talk about this a lot, like what we think love means to each other and like the expression of love. You okay?
No.
I'm okay.
And when I say soulmate, I mean like a soul connection. I don't mean like a love kind of.
Yeah, like it's like love is like what we talked about. Like it's love,
before. But I feel like nowadays when you say soulmate, everyone imagines like it's just like you understood me the best out of anyone that I've ever come across. Like the dark parts of me.
And likewise, you know, like I remember, like, it's crazy because I was a detriment in our relationship too, where like we'd look at each other and be like, okay, how could you not understand me? You understand everything.
But yeah, a lot of times also what was hard for me was that, like, I explained this to you the other day, like I felt like I was like, I don't know if anybody's ever had that kind of relationship with somebody. I'm sure there's people out there that have, but there would be moments where like we'd get into arguments and stuff and I would literally look at you and in my head I'd be like, I wish I wasn't so predictable and see-through to you. I wish you didn't know my next move, but you do. And I was like, this sucks.
Yeah, same.
Like you would know when I'm actually sad about something and when I'm just being petty, and like it wasn't like on a spoken level. It was just like on, you know, it's weird.
To be honest, I feel like that was the same with you, you know, like it was just, what would you say, like put your chin down?
Yeah, put your chin down, because
chin
sometimes we get into arguments and he would actually be making valid points and things that I needed to like be humbled on, and then other times he would be speaking out of ego. And I developed this term of like when he was going a little too 6 a.m. with his ego, I would say put your chin down. And it got to a point where he knew what I meant. He got you in check real quick.
I would like instantly be like, all right, I got you, no problem. So that was something like,
yeah, like speak to me as a person. Like speak to me as like Abtin and Dunya right now, not
No,
6 a.m. in Ramadan.
come on now. No, but you're right. There would
Go for
definitely
each
be
other's
times.
necks
Yeah, for sure.
sometimes though.
Hey, honestly, if anyone had a knife to my neck, it better be you, because I wouldn't trust nobody else with that there, you know?
Thank you.
So, of course.
I got this tattoo after you and I broke up.
The ego one?
The ego
Yeah, it's a
under
sick
my chin,
tattoo.
because we had a lot of like ego
Battles.
in our relationship, and I think that's just because we were so like vulnerable to each other that we needed something to protect us, and instead of developing healthy boundaries, we put up like our ego. So I got this to remind me to be humble and to see things for what they are.
Yeah, honestly, our relationship taught me a lot, just to like be a better person. And it was like a speed run of all the trauma and
It's a crash course.
It was just like, hey, you have all this fucked up shit about you, and here's somebody that you're gonna love so intensely that all of that's gonna come out, because there's a bunch of light being put on some emotions you never felt before. Here you go. And I was like, holy shit. Like I was like, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
I needed a lot of work, and like I appreciate that, like throughout the relationship, that we were patient with each other. But like I want to tell you, like I appreciate your patience with me, because like I can look at you, and this is something I love about like our relationship and friendship now, that I can look at you and be like, hey, this is my first time doing this, or like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing and I'm trying to figure it out, and I'm sorry I fucked up. And you can look at me and be like, that's okay. And I know that like I'm not gonna lose you, and vice versa, where it's like we can make mistakes with each other and know that like it's okay, like you're in my corner and I'm in yours, and no matter what, like that's love. Like that's what I mean by love. Like it's selfless. Like we're soulmates in a way where it's like you walked into the venue and I didn't tell anyone I was nervous, and I grabbed you and I went, yo, I'm nervous right now.
Yeah.
And you were like, it's okay, you're good. And we took a pic together, and like, you know, just
And I did that thing to you that I always do, where I grabbed you and I rubbed your back.
yeah. And I was just, and it honestly, like all I had to do was just talk to you and just feel your energy and just like have you there, and like your support was like unwavering. Like I had no words for it, you know? And like
I feel like that about you too, honestly. Like I'll never forget, like I was getting an award from the state's attorney's office when I worked there, and it was over Zoom, obviously, because I was in Canada at the time, and the ceremony was in Chicago, and you were sitting behind the laptop, and I had my laptop open sitting at the dining room table with my full suit and everything, and you were behind the laptop and you wrote on a piece of paper, let's fucking go, and you just had it up. But so yeah, we always had that in common, and like I'm very, very blessed and fortunate to have like what we have, because what we have transcended a relationship, and it was able to actually become better when we ended our relationship, and it was able to become like more pure and you know, like more positive and whatever. And like even like after we broke up, when I started dating someone else, you met him, and that meant so much to me. That was such a wholesome moment of like, I was like, okay, because like all like, and it takes a big person from your part and from his part to like understand this, that it was like, okay, like even though that ended, this person is still someone that's really important to me, and not everyone would be able to do that. And you guys did that, and you met each other, and you both actually really liked each other.
No, I like him a lot, honestly. I know that might sound weird to some people, but it's like he's a good guy, and I really respect him that he's able to respect me too, because as like in a relationship, right, like he has everything to lose. I have nothing to lose. You're his girl, you know, and he's able to like, you know, be cool with me. And like, to be honest with you, that's enough to show me in his character that he's a good human being. And for me, I was like, I respect you, you know.
Yeah.
I respect him a lot. And like, you know, yeah, I'm happy.
I really like that, to be honest with you. Like I was having this conversation with my mom yesterday, and my mom, like, this is one thing that I love about my mom, is like my mom's really living her dreams that she never got to live out through me. You know what I mean? And she always tells me that. So one of the things that my mom loves about me and always talks to me about is like the relationship, like my relationship choices and the way that I see like relationships and the things that I choose. Okay, enough, no more. And I explain it to her. She actually like really likes listening to my reasoning behind things. And I always tell her, I'm like, you know, like there's a lot of people in my life that have liked me and have wanted to like be with me or date me or whatever and this and that. And I'm not saying that on some cocky level. I mean, like, you're a girl, you're decent looking, you have a decent enough personality. Guys want to be with you. Like, it's not that complicated. But like there's people in my life that have wanted to be with me and I've looked at them and I was like, you're not in love with me. You're in love with the idea of me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So if I were to get sick, if I were to one day wake up and not look the same, if I no longer had the same status as I do for whatever reason or whatever, you would no longer be interested in me, you know? And you were never like that, you know? So our relationship, like I said, was able to like live past that. And like also with him, his relationship with me was never like that. He loves me as like a human being, you know what I mean? So he's like, if this human is important to you, then I'm gonna meet him. And it was great, and I had so much fun. It was like all my favorite people. We went to a concert together, and it was just amazing. It was him, my best friend Rocco, which is his cousin, and my boyfriend at the time. So it was great.
Yeah, and honestly, I think it goes back to what we said, being selfless with love. Like, you got to look at somebody and be like, okay, this person could provide to you what I wasn't able to or willing to provide, right? And so if someone could give that to you and you're happy because of that, you deserve that. Like, you wanted that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think like that's the hardest part about love. People, and that like that ego tattoo really like represents things. Because before, I was more of the type of person that was like, oh, you don't love me, da 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 da. Like, I'm sure
we were very possessive. We both were.
For sure. And but I feel like a lot of people are like that, where it's like, oh, you don't love me, you wouldn't do this. Oh, you don't love me. Like, and it's like a weird question. Like, that's a weird ass question to ask somebody. But like, I feel like you and I have really, like, you taught me what it felt like to love somebody genuinely. Because when you told me the first time that you guys were together, like, I got upset. I remember that. And like, I didn't know why. So I thought about it. And I was like, I was praying and I was like, yo, God, like, what's going on? Like, why do I feel this way? Like, what is it? You know? And it was possessiveness. It was my ego. It was a misunderstanding of like how it should be to love somebody. And I was like, can you give her what she wants? No. So what are you doing being upset because this person is giving her what she needs and wants, and you love her enough for her to have those things? Because we don't know when time ends, right? And you deserve to be happy with wherever you are. And so for me, I saw you happy and I was like, yo, the fact that you can do that for her, I love her enough to love you, because that means that you're giving her what she wants and you're making her life feel like what she wanted it to be. And that's what God's plan was, you know?
I feel like that's real love, and also that's like real, like, at least what I consider like real like manhood. You know, you just want the person that you care about to be happy. And I will say to that point, like with you and I, it was never a matter of you couldn't give me what I wanted or like vice versa, because we really were everything to each other. You know what I mean? Like in the ways that we were misunderstood by everybody, we were totally understood by each other. In the ways that we were unsupported, we totally supported each other. So there was nothing in that sense that you didn't do for me. It was just timing. Yeah. And it got to a point where we were like, okay, the timing's not good, let's break it off, but maybe down the line. And then when we kept saying that maybe down the line, it made it so incredibly hard for us to let go. We kept shifting back into this relationship-like thing. So then we finally sat down and we're like, hey, listen, the only way this is going to work is if we actually just let everything go, let our friendship go back to what it used to be, and not think about it maybe later, maybe down the road and whatever, and actually just live in the moment and live our lives and do what's best for us. And in that moment and in that time, we weren't what was best for us. We still aren't what's best for each other. We still get into like the most heated, stupid arguments. You know, and that's fine. You know, arguments are fine, but there comes a point where you realize like you're arguing for nothing. And when it comes to points where you feel like you're arguing for nothing, you got to ask yourself like what you're going through, you know, what's making you be that way.
Yeah.
And when I did that, I was like, okay, this has to do with me and not him, and I need to step away and deal with myself.
And vice versa, because there was a lot of things about me that there's some shit that you tell me that I didn't in our relationship where I'm like, who was that person?
Yeah,
you know, like,
same.
yeah, I'm like, yo, that's not literally wasn't me. And I feel like it goes back to what we said before, like what you were saying before about how you and I have so many similarities, but we need something to balance out those things that made us similar. And instead we doubled down on that. It was like hot sauce and hot sauce on hot sauce
Yeah.
on my chicken wings, and I don't even
Yeah.
like spicy food like that. So I
Yeah,
feel
crazy.
like at the end of the day, with like everything that we've been through, like I'm so grateful to have you in my life. And like,
Same. I think we made the right decision ending things when we did, and we really, it wasn't like, for everyone listening to this, like, I never even knew this, so I just want to put this out there. If you really break up with someone and you genuinely in your heart feel like you love them, you have to put in the same effort that you put into your relationship to maintain that friendship. And what I mean by that, that effort doesn't look like talking to each other every day. Sometimes it looks like quite the opposite. Sometimes wanting to maintain your friendship looks like distance. You know what I mean? But if you really want that friendship to actually work out and to become what it needs to be, then you gotta do what you gotta do. Like, it takes work, you know? We had to draw boundaries a lot of times and like figure a lot of things out, but we did it and it was good.
I'm grateful for it.
Yeah, for sure. High five.
Of course.
We killed it. We're the greatest to ever do it.
Tell me we ain't the greatest to ever do it. Ah, come on now, stop it.
It's a song on the album. You guys should listen to it.
I'm grateful for you.
Thank you. I'm glad.
Google.
Gubala. It's my dog. I'm drunk.
You're drunk?
Are you spicy?
I'm spicy.
Yeah, I'm super
spicy.
spicy.
I'm a
too.
little spicy.
I'm super spicy too. Let's play a game.
Let's play a game.
Okay. I'm gonna ask you questions about myself, and you're gonna ask me questions about you to see who knows the other person better.
I'm down.
Okay.
Yo, I already know what questions you're gonna ask me. I already know. Okay, cool.
We're gonna start. Let's start off mellow.
Okay.
Okay. Let me just make sure we're running. Good to go.
All right, let's run it.
All right. Do you want me to start?
Yeah,
Okay. Ladies first.
of course.
What's my favorite color?
It's like that green turquoise type of vibe.
It's turquoise.
Yeah.
Okay. You.
I'm gonna hit you with that. What's my favorite color?
This is hard because you don't really have a favorite color.
That's a good point. That's the trick question.
You love black. I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But black's not a color.
But if I had to pick a color, what do
It
you
would
think?
be black. Or if you had to pick a color.
I had to pick a
color.
yeah.
Probably navy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I got nervous. My heart started beating fast.
No,
Because I'm really out there with the things that I got it right though, right?
Yeah,
You're not just
like
letting me
dark,
have this.
I like that,
All
like
right.
that dark blue, that evil eye blue. Like,
Yeah.
like this.
I was
like
thinking
this.
I was thinking back to your closet and everything, and then I remembered like the evil eye and everything. Okay.
Yeah.
What's my favorite number?
5. I'm not gonna ask you what my favorite number is because you know that one.
Yeah.
That's a gimme.
27.
Yeah, that's an easy.
I almost said 17.
It's okay.
I always mistake 17 and 27. I don't know why.
I don't know.
But
why
I know it's
did.
27 because, you know, the manifesting the houses. But you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Can I say it? Can I, like,
Yeah,
say-
sure.
Everyone. So I have a tattoo of this 27 Roman numerals. I don't know if y'all can see that here. My brother has the same tattoos, matching tattoos, and everyone in my family was born on a 2, a 7, or a 27. And
Yeah.
so even my dog, recipe Shadow.
I was talking about him today with your mom.
Legend, Chub Chubs.
Yeah, great. Chub Chubs.
Chub Chubs. All the real ones know who he was. But yeah, he was even born on 27. So anyone in like my direct family is like 2, 7, 27. Dad the second, my mom the 7th, my brother the 7th, me the 27th, him the 27th.
Yeah. And every time we drive by a nice house that's like the number 27, I say, this is your house.
Yeah, very sweet of you.
Yeah.
But
What's
that's
the question?
So yeah, like worst intro to a question. But what's my favorite food?
You're such a bad eater that like I don't like, you hate food. Today you were telling me you're like, he's like, I eat to survive, not to enjoy. I was like, that's horrible. What's your favorite food? You don't like seafood.
No.
Is it tacos?
I'll actually give you that one.
You like tacos?
Yeah, I love tacos.
I know, it's the
love
only
tacos.
thing I've seen you eat with like you wanted to eat it, not like, okay, I'm gonna eat this and get out of here. Tacos. Are you asking me to pick a Persian dish?
You know what?
You're not really a Persian dish eater though.
Well, actually, there's certain foods. Do you know what my favorite Persian food is?
Is it khorshi karafs?
No, it's not.
What is it?
It's it's zerish polo.
Zerish polo.
I love zerish polo.
Zerish polo is really easy to make too.
Yeah,
it's such a low maintenance baddie.
Yeah.
Low maintenance baddie.
So low maintenance.
But was I off with the tacos?
No, honestly, you surprised me with that answer because I was like, damn, I actually do love tacos.
What was your answer originally?
I was gonna say like, and I don't know, like if people in America or other countries in the world will watch this, but poutine is one of my favorite.
Oh
foods,
yeah, you do like poutine. Honestly, I'm glad I didn't say that because that's really basic bitch of you. Like,
I love it. It's French fries, cheese, and gravy.
Poutine. Yeah,
so
he does love poutine.
like
Sorry,
cheese.
did I get that wrong?
No, you got it right. Tacos was like
tacos. You love tacos.
To be honest, like tacos probably surpasses.
I really
poutine.
want some tacos right now. We should get some tacos after
La
this.
Carnita.
You down?
I'm down. Tequila shots and tacos.
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
What's my What's my worst fear?
How deep am I getting with this?
Do both. Do like the deep one and the like shallow one. Because you know both. I think you know both.
Can I just actually? I got one that would be all of it, but I'm gonna leave you. I'm gonna save that one.
You're gonna say my dad?
No, well, no. I would have. I'd say my dad too.
You're the same.
No, right. I was gonna say, death.
Okay.
Death is a big one.
By the way, when he says death, he doesn't mean my death. He means the death of the people
you
I love.
That you love, like to outlive the people that you love. Yeah, sorry.
Outliving the people I love. Yeah, that's a big one. Perfect way to put it.
That's a big one, and the other one is to not leave a positive mark on somebody. So like the last memory you want of somebody, like of you, is to be positive. Yeah. And you never want, like, you have a guilt complex. So
that's true. I do have a guilt complex. Okay, you know what? Is that your answer?
I would say like that. Those two things are pretty big on your list. I would say.
I will definitely give you the outliving the people that I love. That's probably like very, very up there for me. But another one that I know because you brought it up to me without me saying anything to you. You were like, I think I pointed it out a few times in movies we watched, and you said, yo, you're really scared of that, eh? I'm terrified of anything institutionalized.
Yes. What was that movie we watched together?
I can't remember. But like for example, like mental asylums and like even some prisons with all the fluorescent lights and everything being in order and like institutionalized like that. Did I say institutionalized properly? It sounded like
no, you did it. You got it.
Yeah, that terrifies me. And then if I wanted to give you a third option, like loneliness is also one of mine.
Yeah, I could see that one. Yeah. I could see that one.
I get scared. I love being alone, which is so weird. You know this about me. I love being alone, but at the same time, I worry about like always being alone.
I feel like that's like a balance of what being a human is. I feel like we always like, it's this fucked up feeling of like, I have people with me, but I feel lonely. And I feel like that's a dilemma a lot of people have nowadays too. So I get that you want to know you have people there for you and you chose to be alone.
Exactly. Yeah. Which goes kind of hand in hand with my outliving thing. Like I'm the youngest of my family, So I always worry if there will ever come a day where I'll be like the only one of my kind on this planet.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
I remember we talked about this a while back where it was like, and I said this too, and I hope it brought you some sort of like relief or liberation, where it was like, if you were the chosen one to outlive everybody that you love, that was God's intention and plan to be like, you were the only one. All right, well,
God's going to have to kind of deal with me on this one. I'm out.
He's got you $1 million and a happy life. How about this? You got to outlive everybody. I wouldn't do it either.
Yeah, fuck, that's crazy. That's insane. I wouldn't do that. But you know what? I was telling my mom, like I was really, really fortunate of like, even though I didn't have a strong family background, I have a lot of great like family members and stuff. But like, I went through some difficulties with my family, but like what I lacked in my family, I made up for with friends. I have a lot of really incredible friends that actually really love me and that show up for me as like family and like that make me feel like cared for and You
do the same. You ride out for your people, and
I love my people,
and they love you too. They're grateful for you.
That's my shit.
Yeah, I'm one of those people, and I love you too.
Squad.
You already know.
Alright, it's your turn.
All right.
That was my ankle.
Also, my ankle hurt. I'm gonna ask a question that I don't know if you know the answer to. Actually,
What?
if I wasn't doing music, what would I be doing?
Something to do with business. Like something to do with like either you'd have like your own line of something, or you'd sell something to someone, whether that was an idea, a dream, or a false reality. You'd be selling something to someone because you're very, very good with like, as like a way of making money, yeah. And then as like maybe like a passion, I would think that like you would do something with like the youth and basketball or something like that. I know basketball is big for you, so probably something like maybe you'd play basketball with like youth with incarcerated parents or something. You know what I mean? Like a cool little community endeavor.
You know what? I won't say you're wrong about that, but I will say if I had the ability to and I was in that position to, I would do what you did. And I would go to law school.
Oh yeah, I know you've always wanted to go to law school, but you said that when your music thing gets to where you want it to be, that you would go to law school. And I'm saying this for everybody so that we can hold him accountable. He told me this. He said, you're going to hold me accountable to this. When I get my music to where I'm happy with it, I'm going to law school. And I said, you should have done that before your music thing, because once your music blows up and you're like on the road all the time and whatever, it's going to be hard. And he said, no, trust me, I'm still going to do it. Do you remember that conversation?
Yes, I do.
All right, well, then let's get to it.
I will. And you accomplishing what you did, like, I'm not going to try to brag about this, but this is something I'm proud of. It was my best friend's birthday at his girlfriend's house at the time. And she threw a huge surprise party for him. And, like, everyone was there. It was, like, a great time. And you were graduating.
Was it Anthony's birthday?
It was Anthony's birthday, AK's birthday. And you were graduating from law school. And there's literally a video of everybody in the room and like everyone celebrating and partying, having a good time. And I'm literally sitting in a corner streaming your graduation on my phone.
Yeah, to where they called my name.
Yeah,
and butchered it.
And I have that screen recorded.
Yeah.
And I still have your diploma saved on my phone too. And
thank you. Yeah, you were always very, very, very supportive of me in that sense, and I really, really thank you for that.
Yeah.
You know, and I know that you know that meant more to me than the average person. So, you know, I really do appreciate that. But yeah, I know that you want to go to law school, and I really think that you should, because I think you'd be absolutely great at it. But you know, actually, I did tell you this at the time when you told me this too. I said, I'm happy that you're going after me, because that means that I could help you when you do decide to go.
And if you ever,
do you remember?
I do. And if you ever want to come back to music,
that's what you said exactly. Yeah.
I'm gonna get that for you, and you know what? Even if I'm gonna say this now to manifest it too. Even if she doesn't come back to music as an artist, best believe she's gonna come and sue your ass if you copyright one of her artists. You know what I'm saying? So
I absolutely love, like, I really, really would love to like get into more so of like the copyrights law and like the entertainment law and the contracts and everything like that, because I have the network for it, like, you know what I mean? I'm already in the industry, and B, I've seen what it's like to be an artist, and especially an independent artist, and I really wholeheartedly would be okay with just working for independent artists and just working with them to make their dreams like work, you know?
Remember you looked through my contract one time?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I had a contract sent to me, and then she looked through it, and she went
that whole thing was in red everywhere. I was like, nope.
And I never heard back from anybody. But it was a beautiful time, and I genuinely.
You decided not to do it after I blew up the contract for you, remember?
Yeah, I was just like, yo, I guess, like, you know what I mean. Never heard back from them either.
Well, we talked about it, and I remember when I was on the phone with you. This is one thing with me as a lawyer in general, is I will never tell my client do this or do that. For me, it's always a matter of, did you know that this means this? If you know and you're okay with that, then cool.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what I was doing for you. I had things highlighted and I was saying, did you know that this means this? Are you okay with that? You said no. Flagged it. Another one. So then we made a list of things that you should tell them that, hey, I want this amended and this amended and this amended. And they were not down to do it because obviously they, you know, most of these contracts want to take advantage of artists, especially independent artists. So, you know, you're on to bigger and better things now.
Yeah, and you said one thing to me that, like, I think every artist needs to hear. if they really wanted you, they would make it work.
Yeah.
That's what you said. That was the particular thing you said in that sentence where I was like, okay, sending this out and I don't care what the response is, because if they wanted me and wanted to work with me, they would make it happen. If they didn't, so be it. And never heard back from anybody. And in terms of that side of the business of things, and yeah.
The way I looked at that, and the way that I look at this, is why I want to work in that industry, is because like I have so much love for artists, and like I know what it takes, like, and you know what I mean, like I understand it. And for me it was a matter of like, I know who you are and I know what you're worth. So for me it was like, if they're not willing to at least like get you to a point where you're comfortable with the contract that you're signing, they don't deserve to have you.
Yeah. And
you know,
beautifully said. It gave me so much perspective on
because
everything.
you were not being unrealistic. Like I as a lawyer, I could tell you like, hey, like they're not gonna ever do this, like don't, you know, they're not gonna change this, they're not gonna whatever. But the things that you wanted to change about that contract were not anything that was like ridiculous or like out of bounds with everything. But you know, just speaks volumes of like, you know, like the industry and like taking advantage of artists. Because realistically, you had me that read over your contract. How many artists have a lawyer to send that to? You know, so just imagine how many people are signing contracts not even knowing what they're getting themselves into.
Not for real. And and they don't know what you said to me.
Yeah.
Which is, if they really want you, they'll make it work. That is like, as an artist, to hear that, it's very liberating, because at least for me, it's tough, and I'm sure you're like this with other things. Like, I don't know what the word is, like khijalat, like shame.
Embarrassed, shy,
like you don't want to be a burden on somebody.
You
like,
you don't want to burden somebody.
You know, and it's just like, and then when you said that, it kind of made me be like, yo, I am an asset. I am of value, and like, it made me not want to just be like, okay, here's a contract. Here's the first contract that I got. Here's some entity that had interest in me.
Yeah.
And it was liberating to say like, no, like I want this, and if you can't do that, that's cool.
Yeah.
It was liberating.
That's one of my favorite things to do for my clients, and no matter what like field of law I'm working in, is like, you know, when a lot of times as a lawyer, when clients come to you, it's not that they just have a problem that needs to be solved, which is how a lot of lawyers look at their job, but it's a lot of disempowered people that need to be empowered. You know what I mean? And like, that's my favorite part of being a lawyer. You know what I mean? It's at times when you're talking to a client where they're so disempowered, where you're like, hey, like, I mean, like, you got this. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to do this. Like, you deserve this. Even if they come back and they say X, Y, and Z, even if it falls apart, I'm telling you, they don't deserve you. Whatever, this, and that. You know what I mean? Like, I really love empowering people. I think it was like with Rocco the other day, he was telling me about how he was fixing up his resume because he was applying for an internship to work at a clinic. And the way he was phrasing things in his resume, I was like, I called him and I was like, dude, I was like, blow this bitch up. I was like, make those parts about him being, he was like, he had like the fact that he's a studio owner, the fact that he's a producer, but he wasn't really speaking to that. He just had like very brief bullet points to that. And then when I called him, he was like, well, yeah, I just don't want them to, you know, be weird about me having been out of school for so long. I'm like, dude, you were out of school because you fucking learned how to produce on your own, and you have your own entire fucking empire now. You have your own client base. You have your own studio. You do everything for not just for yourself, but for other artists. I'm like, own that. And he's like, no, I know. I'm like, no, act like it. You didn't stop going to school because you're lazy. You stopped because you had a vision and you made it happen. So act like it. You know what I mean? I love that. I need people to do that for me.
I think everybody needs that. Like, with what they're doing, like, you need cold water splashed on your face, and sometimes it's just like genuine honesty from someone that you respect. I think that's like the most beautiful thing. And I know Roham, and like, when you say something, it's like when you say something to me, you know, that shit, like, it's not a grain of salt. Like, that's, you're rubbing the salt.
Yeah, because both of you have the
food,
love
you know?
like the love language of affirmation. Like, words of affirmation is big for both of you guys,
especially for people we trust, you know.
Yeah.
And like, especially from you, like, as I said, it's what you said to me, what you say to him. It's like, to hear someone like you be like, yo, you're dope, it's like, all right, I'm dope. You know what I mean? And I think sometimes, like, people just need to hear that from people that they love. Getting flowers while they're here, you know. People don't do that enough.
You do that a lot. You're very, very good at that, at doing that. I appreciate that a lot because you do that for me a lot too. But that's big for me. I love doing that for people. I love any chance I get. I love reminding people who the fuck they are.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you get so stuck in your own head, and like you get so like you like I used to have a painting instructor. I can't even say painting instructor because it was literally this old man. Shout out to him. He's in Iran. He was just this old man, and I used to go to like this mall, and he had like an art gallery there, and I kept walking past there, and I remember one day I was like, dude, can I just come paint with you? And he was like, sure. And I remember I used to go there and paint with him, and he was just such a great guy. And I remember he taught me one thing, and like it sounds funny, but like he was like, when you look at a picture like this, you can't see anything, and you can't see what it is. Everything looks horrible. He goes, sometimes you got to put a painting out here so you can really see what it is and what you like about it and what you don't like about it. And I feel like sometimes people look at their lives like this, so they see, like they forget how beautiful the bigger picture actually is, you know? So sometimes you just gotta grab that shit and fucking pull it away and be like, look at this. You know what I mean?
For real. For real. That's crazy that you said that. That's like, my dad used to say that to me a lot, actually. Like,
yeah, I called him before this. I asked
you
him.
called my pops?
I asked him
Tell
for
him
your
I say hi.
opinion.
Tell him I say hi. Tell him I say hi. No, it's crazy. But you already know my relationship with my dad. So it's like, to hear that, it was like, those are one of the few things that like I took from that where I was like, yo.
Yeah.
To hear that impacted you. It means something to me to know that impacted you in your childhood because that same
thing impacted you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's important. It's important because, like, you know, like for real, when you're an artist, like when you actually paint, that's a really big thing. Like he used to always tell me, he's like I'd be like painting for hours, and he'd come and he'd grab me and he'd be like pull me to the back of the room and he'd be like, look at it. And I was like, oh shit, I gotta add more there. I gotta do this here. And he's like, stop being so close to the canvas. You need to and he used to tell me this. He's like, every few minutes, a couple strokes, whatever you're doing, you got to step back and look at it, see what you're doing, and then go back in. You know what I mean? So that's what my mom does for me.
What do you mean by that?
My mom's always the person to remind me of the bigger picture.
I understand.
I'll be like, oh, I fucked up this and this and this. My mom will be like, but in the grand scheme of things, you've been killing it. You know? It's important.
Shout out to Khalid.
Moms, let's have a shot. Cheers to moms.
Cheers to moms. You got water in here?
I got water.
I'm gonna have some water.
Yeah, have some of my water.
No, I'm gonna need it after that.
Oh, you want to chase it with this? Okay,
Yeah.
let me have some.
We chase with water on this bitch.
We were going to go to the gym after this. But yeah, I love talking to you.
Love talking to you too.
Fun times, fun times.
Always.
Are we done with our little game? Yeah, I know, it's horrible. What is that? Don't say it out loud.
I did not like that one. Oof.
Yeah, it's not great.
Thank you.
Are we done with our little game? Do you have any games you want us to play?
Yuck, that was gross.
Yuck.
Name 3 things grosser than that, quick, off the top of your head.
Toenails, kneecaps, and elbows.
That's crazy. What did elbows and kneecaps do to you?
I was thinking elbow grease, but...
What a little elbow grease do for you?
For all the girls out there, because, you know, there's going to come a day where this guy's going to be a fucking international fucking artist, and you guys are going to come back and find this little interview online. And for all the ladies out there, I just want to let you guys know that he has a foot fetish. So if you really want to slide in 6 a.m.'s DMs, you got to throw in there a little feet pic. And he only likes the white toes or the Frenchies. So don't come at it with nothing different. If you're really trying to because I get it, you know, you don't always want to have the white toes and the Frenchies. But if you're going to improvise, do like a little light pink, like a neutral type color. No red. If you ever got red toes, disqualified. I'm just saying. I'm just making it easy for the shorties. What? Why are you laughing? But it's true though. I'm telling you.
Listen.
Yeah.
You go through my tracks. I remember one time I brought you to the studio with JD and Billy Lowe, remember? And I said something about toes, and you're just like, it's always with the fucking toes with you. You always, at least one time, you gotta mention the toes.
White toes, yeah.
The white toes.
The white toes.
Just those, that was...
Yeah, he likes the white toes, and he likes girls who are like at least somewhat cultured. So cultured meaning close with your family, you know, cultured.
That's actually facts.
Yeah.
That's actually facts.
Yeah.
And for men that want to go for her, shit, you better...
Don't.
Nah, not even that. You just gotta come correct. Because, can we talk about a relationship a little bit more? Like,
Sure.
we're gonna do that?
Yeah, we can talk about whatever you want. I literally love that. I love when my guests come here and tell me what they want to talk about. Because this is about you guys. It's not about me and what I want to talk about. That's what I wanted to do different with my podcast.
No, I love that. It's about us, you know?
Exactly.
And
what would you like to talk about relationships?
no, it was about us. What were we saying before this? What was the point? Let me
You
make-
said, guys, if you want to come at her, you just got to come correct.
Oh, yeah, thank you. So you taught me the value of a high quality woman. So for those of you who haven't been in a relationship with a girl like this, you got girls and men too, but like at least I have, like, my experience with women is like they'll let you do whatever you want and they love you and they accept you, and then at one point they kind of just like snap and they're like, okay, I'm gonna cheat on you or I'm gonna fucking leave you, and it's just like, bro, like we could have talked about this or like whatever, and the relationship ends and it didn't work out. And I'm sure there's from both sides, men and women, this happens. With you, I knew that if I didn't come correct, like with XYZ, there were just certain things, like as a lady, that you needed. I was like, she'll just leave me and some other guy will do it, and like she won't even bat an eye about it. But it wasn't something I was like worried about, that like you would do that. It was more so like, what makes me so special that there are so many men that are willing to do this for her? Because you said something to me one time, and like my girlfriend before you was like not on Instagram like that, and she was very low key and rey-tay-tay, and then you like are booming in your own way, you know. And so I remember we were laying in bed one time and I looked at you and I was tripping about your Instagram, because what would I do with Shorty, who barely had any Instagram followers? I trip when some random man was being followed, rey-tay-tay. But with you, you looked at me and went, if you're ever worried that there's a guy trying to DM me, just know that there is. And you're like, so calm the fuck down, because there is, except that it's done and I'm not doing anything. And I was like, no queen likes an insecure man. No high quality woman will accept less. And it made me learn how to treat women right, because you didn't let me act like a boy, and that taught me how to be a man. So for men who are in relationships that, you know,
Yeah.
don't get pushed to those points, do that for your woman, because odds are she's gonna leave your ass or cheat on you or some shit. Because shit, that's what happens when I find out girls cheat now. The first thing I ask is, was your man lacking? You
Yeah,
know?
I get what you're saying. Honestly, to me, first of all, thank you.
Of course.
I appreciate that. That was very sweet.
Of course.
And it's only sweet because it's coming from you, and you're a high quality person yourself, even though you know I don't like using that term. I don't like saying high quality man or high quality woman, because I feel like it's very like objectifying, like for men and women. I don't like that. But you know what I mean. Like you're very, like, you've done the work. You know what I mean? So that means a lot coming from you. But one thing I will say, and like if there's any women out there watching, for what it's worth, I'm a nobody. Take my advice. Don't take my advice. But my thing always is, in any relationship that I go into, is that like it'll only work when you get to a point with your man where he knows you would never, ever, ever leave him for anybody else or cheat on him or anything, but that you know he would never push you to that point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the underlying agreement subconsciously or outwardly or whatever has to be that I'm never going to leave you. I'm never going to leave your side. I'm never going to cheat on you. But on the other side, to me, you will promise that you will never push me to that point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the only way that will work, because personally, this is my I guess advice to women is like, men need to have if a man feels like you're gonna leave over anything or cheat over anything, they're never gonna show you their true colors. You're never gonna know that man for who they are. You know what I mean?
Well said.
So if you really want to see what your man has to offer, you got to make them feel comfortable, meaning you're not going anywhere. You're riding. You not riding as in putting up with bullshit, but you're there for the long run. And then you get to see their true colors. But also on the reverse side, men will never respect a woman that they know will never leave. So there has to be an underlying point of like, I won't, but don't push me there.
I have a question.
Do you know what I mean?
I do, but my question to add to that, don't you feel like women act that way too?
Act what way?
That last part where it's like, when I feel, not just women, people, like just, I feel like that's a people thing where it's like, when I give you availability and you know I'm there, you take that for granted, and when it's gone and it's scarce, you get anxious. Not you, but like, you know what I'm trying to say, the person gets anxious.
Yeah.
Don't you feel like people do that and then they go, oh, they're gonna be there anyways, oh, I could do whatever, they
absolutely.
love me, you know?
I see what you're saying, and I agree with that, like taking people for granted in general, whether that's your parents, your friends, your whatever.
Yeah.
But more so what I mean is there's a certain femininity that makes a man always want to keep chasing for you. And I don't mean chasing after you, I mean chasing to do better for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which in turn also betters the man. And that kind of femininity, if you keep letting a man wrong you and walk over you without consequences, as in the eyes of a man, it dulls you out. You know what I mean? Like, you don't, like, you lose that, like, and I'm not saying this in a judgmental way because I've done that. You know what I mean? You lose your, like, fragility as a woman because the man is like, yo, she can take a lot. She can take a lot of shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But in a man's mind, it should always be that, like, I shouldn't do this to her. You know what I mean? This, she's too fragile for that. You know what I mean? But if a man's consistently wronging you and you keep putting up with it, it dulls you out as a woman. You know what I mean? You lose your femininity, not just in the eyes of a man, because fuck the man, because they're already wronging you, fuck them, but even in your own eyes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why, like, even on some real level, like for me personally, like I have a lot of guys ask me like when I was like throughout my life, no matter what, when I was younger and I was single, when I was older and I was single, of like, you're so beautiful and you have such a nice personality, so what's wrong with you? Why are you single? You know what I mean? And that question always rubbed me the wrong way. But then when I got down to it and I was real with myself, I realized what it was. I had been through so much in my life, unwanted shit. It's not even fair, but life isn't fair. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'd been through so much shit at the hands of like people I dated, friends, family, everybody, just my upbringing. And I'd overcome it. You know what I mean? And I'd overcome it and I'd overcome it. And every time I would overcome it, I would see myself as being a little bit less feminine. I could handle more.
I understand.
You know what I mean? And obviously that's not a bad thing. I could handle more. I overcame. I'm resilient. But those aren't particularly feminine traits, at least in the sense of like letting a man cater to you, having a soft life. You know what I mean? So I had to learn to like, that's something that it's just everything in life I feel like is a win and lose. You know what I mean? So I gained a lot of knowledge and a lot of strength from going through those things, but I lost a little bit of my sparkle. And that's just for me personally. But for the right person, you have the right amount of sparkle. Do you know what I mean? It's just your audience becomes a little bit more niche, if you know what I'm saying. your platform starts to look a little bit more scarce. Do you know what I'm trying to say by that?
No, I do. I feel like it's all based on energy though. I feel like everything, like at the end of the day, like what you do, like for men who don't understand this is something that you taught me. There's feminine energy and masculine energy, and in a world that is dominated by men, women tap into masculine energy to proceed forward in a male dominant world. So for those people who don't get it, it's like, do you really think like a girl would really care to fully cover up and go for a walk at late at night or whatever if she wasn't worried that some guy might walk behind her and grab her and do something? and be like, oh, you were just half naked, it was just provoked. Like, the sexualization of women was done by society, by media, by these things. Not to say women aren't beautiful, amazing, whatever, but it's just like women were sexualized because of this thing. And I feel like in order to be in a successful relationship, you have to be able to allow your woman to tap into her feminine energy again. There is a point in time in which women have that energy, they lose touch with that, and then they try to find it again. And some women never lose it, some women do, whatever, but you have to be able, like as a man, be able to provide your woman with a safe space in order to be able to tap into that energy. And if you do that, then she'll flourish. And if she flourishes, you'll flourish. And if you flourish, the house flourishes and your kids and everything. It's a domino effect. And I feel like the best way to describe that, in my opinion, is a key and a lock. And it's like, can you unlock her feminine energy? Yes or no? If you cannot, move forward. Because you're wasting her time.
That's not your person. And I agree with that. Like a lot of times when I hear these like alpha male podcasts and stuff like that, I'm like, dude, why are we even trying to break things down to a science? It's all about your connection with someone. When you have a connection with someone, everything about that person speaks to you. Even the things that in the eyes of the world is wrong or more masculine, you see through that. You know what I mean? Like when you met me, when we first became friends, like when you knew me as Rocco's friend, you told me at the time you were dating your other girlfriend. Yeah. And what she asked you about me and was like, oh, who's this girl that you guys are always hanging around? And you were like, oh, Mama John, you don't have to worry about her. She's basically a guy. Yeah. You told her. Yeah. And then when we went into a relationship, you would always tell me, you're like, I can't believe you're the same person. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I saw you differently. Because now to me, I was able to show you a different part of myself because you showed me a different part of yourself, you know? And for me, this is a really funny story, actually. For me, that like changing moment where I stopped seeing you as my friend and was like, oh, this is someone that I could like open up to was, I was staying with the guys and I was on my period and I was also sick. So I had the flu and I was on my period. And for all the girls out there, you know that feels like death. So I was literally dying, and the guys, A, I couldn't tell them what was going on, and B, they just didn't get it. You know, a guy that has experience with women, that was raised by a mom, like would look at that and be like, you know, she's probably going through something, you know? But they didn't get it, so I just went and hid out in my room, and I was dying under my blanket. And you came and knocked on my door, and you came to my room with a care package, with what you called a care package. And it was a whole bunch of things, from snacks to things I needed for my period to things I needed for my medication for my flu. And in that moment, I was like, I literally did not say 2 words to this guy. I was like, this guy could see through my masculinity or whatever, you know? So what I'm saying, like before what I said, like I'm not saying that when I say lose your sparkle, I don't mean that like you lose your femininity and fuck you're broken and what these alpha male podcasts try to say. Yeah. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying like to everything you lose, there's something that you gain. You know what I mean? So yeah, you lose out on some of that femininity. That's natural. That's okay. Some of at least what's considered femininity. Yeah. But then you tap into a new market. And the new market is men that are actually quality men. Yeah. You know what I mean? That can actually see through all the bullshit. That are not intimidated by a little bit of masculinity. Because they're so masculine that to them, your little masculinity is still cute. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's still nothing to them. So, I don't know. It's all balanced. Everything in life to me is balanced.
Not for real. And I looked at you, like, especially at those times. Remember I came with the wet wipe, the makeup wipes, and I wiped your makeup off your face too. I
was like, take my makeup off.
Yeah, I remember.
And then you did it, and I was like, you're not doing it properly. And you're like, okay, well, how do I do it properly? And I was like, see, you gotta put it on your hand, you gotta do it like this. And you're like, you did it again. You're like this. I'm like, yeah. And then I looked at you in that moment, and at that time we were still friends, and I was like, I love this guy.
I just remember looking at you in that moment, and you know, you said something to me and it hit me. You were just like, because you were at the crib and then you were like, they don't get it. Yeah. And I looked at you and I'm like, I get it. Like, it's because, like, you know, my mom raised me, my grandma raised me. Like, I I'm very empathetic to
See,
feelings.
new market. I tapped into a new market.
and so, and so when I saw you, I was like, oh my God, she's literally alone going through all these feelings and emotions, and she just feels all fucked up. And I'm like, why wouldn't I? Like, why wouldn't I come and be there for you? Like, I always had love for you, even when we bumped heads. It didn't matter what it is. Like, I always looked at you and was like, there's something about you I fuck with. Like, it didn't have to do with Roham only. Obviously, Roham was like the spark to the fire. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
there was something there that I looked at in you, and I was like, you're a genuine person. I like you. And like, to see that in that moment, it kind of made me just be like, I want to see you happy.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was nice to see you be happy.
You brought a lot of femininity out of me to a point where like this is a thing that a lot of guys, and I'm not even going to say men because it's not men, I feel like boys don't understand, is like it's always the most masculine women that are capable of the most femininity. You know what I mean? Because you can't experience masculinity without femininity. So women who are very masculine have at some point been very feminine. You know what I mean? And like, as a man, if you're really a man, if you really love somebody, you could bring that out of them. It's just a matter of what we talked about. It's gotta be the right person. And to me and to us, I was always around our friend group. I was always around my friends who are a bunch of guys that I've known since high school. I was always very, how would you say it? More
masculine,
more held back on my femininity. I didn't show too much emotions around them. My range of emotions was limited to I'm pissed and I'm extra pissed in front of my guy friends, you know? But it didn't mean that I didn't have all the other emotions. It just took for a guy that was on my level of understanding like you to look at me and be like, you got a little sparkle in your eyes, little lady. You got a little sparkle in there.
Nah, and you still do.
Thank you.
Of course.
Thanks.
No.
I turn it on and off sometimes depending on whether or not I'm dealing with corporate America.
Yo, I gotta do the same, to be honest with you. People see me, like when I was doing my show, for example, it's so funny because you know me, I'm like goofy and bubbly and like all this stuff. And then my friends see me at the show and they were like, you're just not that when you're on stage, when you're talking to people, when you're on the floor. And I think like it's like compartmentalizing and like changing who you are. Like I think it's a liberation of being in a situation where you can be whoever you want to be, and then the liberation of being in a situation where you can be who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like when you're in an environment where it's like what you said, like women who are very masculine can have a lot of femininity to them. I always butcher that word.
Okay. It's too many itties.
Yeah, too many itties in that titty, but like it's like it's yin and yang. Not to be like corny and like mention that, but like, you know what I mean?
No, for real, it is.
It's what it is. It's like, that's why even with you, like I would be so upset about certain things or whatever throughout a relationship or whatever it may have been, and I'd be like, fuck, like the reason why, and this was something that bring me happiness in a sense. Like I'd be like, you're only so upset because of because on the opposite side she makes you that happy on the exact equivalent of what side.
We had this conversation, remember? One time when we had a big fight when we were together. Do you remember? We were in your car. And I looked at you and I was like, you love how deep I am. You love how much I understand you, and you love all these things about me. So then you can't get upset when I get so fucked up about certain things, because it's the same depth that makes me get so dark. And so, you know what I mean?
Love me. Do you remember? You were like, love me for me.
And I literally looked at you and I was like, love me for me.
Yeah. I'll never forget that. And that was like, you're like, everything that you're upset about is what made me who I am.
Yeah.
And you looked at me dead in my face and be like, what do you want? And that was when I looked at you and I went, like I was like, that's the problem that people have nowadays. Like, you know, you end up looking at, it's not just men or women, just people. It's like we have these requirements out of everybody and we don't even understand how to get there.
What comes with that?
Exactly.
You got to take the good with the bad, you know? And dude, honestly, everything in my life shifted, when I came to, when that in that period that just recently came to somewhat of an end,
Yeah.
where I was super searching for whatever I was missing.
Yeah.
Everything shifted for me when I realized this. And this is why I feel like for me it's God. For anybody it could be anything. This is why in my heart I know that nothing could defeat God.
Facts.
Because I'm like, even when you look at the universe, even when you look at nature, everything is hanging on a balance.
Yeah.
And every time something falls off balance, there's something that makes up for it. And I've noticed this in everything that happens to me. If something bad happens to me, I'm automatically gifted with something good. And I don't mean like something bad happens to me the next day I get something good. I mean, I go through something incredibly hard. I walk out the other side either having learned something new that completely puts me above my peers, or I come out the other side having met people that could carry me through the next thing. You know what I mean? Nothing in this world, or the other way around, when something good gets handed to you, and this is not to scare anyone, this is just to say like God is good and nothing could ever defeat God. You get something good handed to you. Let's say you finally get that, you pop off on your music and everything turns out the way that you want. You now all of a sudden have less time with your friends, have less time for your family. You know what I mean? Who knows? You make a lot of money. All of a sudden you become a lot more out of touch. You know what I mean? It's always a push and pull. You know, there's no good without bad, and there's no bad without good. You know, and it's such a liberating thing when you think about it, because you're like,
it's all the balance.
It's all gonna come to a balance,
yeah.
You know. So, whatever.
Trust God.
Yeah, for sure.
Trust the process.
Trust God, because what goes around comes around.
That's a full circle.
Shameless plug, Daddy.
Yes, sir.
I love you.
I love you too.
I'm so glad we did this again.
Me too.
Yeah, I wasn't happy about the first one because for everybody watching, I started crying the first time we filmed this because we started talking about Carter, who was my dog that passed. And while he was completely okay with that, I wanted to represent him in a better light, because Six is not just someone I brought on the podcast. He's a very, very close friend of mine, like one of my best friends, and I genuinely mean that, and has been for a very long time. Someone that I have so much history with, someone that knows me so well, and aside from all of that personal shit, someone who's so incredibly talented and deserves to have, like, at the very minimum, if you're gonna give me the satisfaction of coming on my podcast, at least I could deliver a good podcast and show some of your personality to the world.
Firstly, like you already said it, I was okay with it, because like I understand, like we talked about Shadow earlier, I lost Shadow too, so like, and he was young, so like I get it. And you know what, I respect like whatever you wanted to do and however, but like your vulnerability in that moment to me was like also something that like I really respected, because it's hard. The camera's on, lights are on in this room right now, like you're on the mic, we could hear our own voices, like it's hard. It's hard to be vulnerable. It is hard to say that you're sad. It's hard to say that you miss somebody or miss something. And so whatever you decided to do, I respect it. And yeah, I love you regardless. Like, you know.
I love you too. Honestly, like, for everyone watching, I don't want anybody to think that like this is Inside Out Universe. I always try to share as much of me. Obviously, it's the beginning of my podcast, so just like any friendship, I'm slowly opening up to you guys as well. But I want the premise of my podcast to be vulnerability, you know. So I try to always make myself vulnerable to my guests so that they can do the same with me if they want to. And you know, and it's not because of that I chose not to put that video up. I don't mind being vulnerable with you guys. I've mentioned so many times that I've lost Carter and that it's absolutely destroyed me and that I'm still working on recovering from it. It's the only reason I chose not to do that is because I feel as though, even though me and Six have a personal like friendship and a relationship, and because of that it was so easy for me to be vulnerable, I don't think it was fair for me to make that episode about myself, because I just really, really wanted to use this as an opportunity to like show 6 a.m. to the world, especially because you haven't done many interviews. You don't intend on doing many interviews in your career. I wanted the one that you did with me. You have such a deep personality. There's so many layers to who you are, but at least I was able to capture a little bit more of it on this episode than that one.
Yeah.
You know? So I'm very happy that you came back.
Of course. And if we had to re-record this 10 more times until we got it right, I'd do it, because
I don't think I want you at my house 10 more times. Thanks, though.
yeah, no, of course. Hey, but you know what? That's a different story for another time. But I would definitely never, like, I'd never not want to be honest. You know, like, my whole, like, is what you said. I don't know who I'd be comfortable talking with like this. Like, I talked to Curls about this on the way here. He was just talking about how, like, when you're making art and you have to turn art to a job. So you started making music, or he started doing videography, or you started doing this out of a passion, and you turned it to a job. And I looked at him and I said, bro, if you do not have fun and make these projects, like, things where, like, you put yourself in a position to work with people you like, because if you're choosing to be an artist, you're already making the hardest choice of life, that you're going against the status quo. I'm going to live a life of an artist. At least surround yourself with people that you love, that people that, like, you can create with freely and have fun with. And, like, I feel like with you, I feel like with him, I feel like with Rocco, like, that's the fun of it. I don't want to go on a bunch of podcasts and be like, here's my album tour on da da blah 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 blah, and you hear the same interview 5 times. It's like, you want to get to know me. I came on this podcast with someone that means, like, the world to me, and I want them to know who I am through you, because you bring me out of me. You taught me who I am. I don't know if you remember this, but you know exactly what I'm going to say. You know exactly what I'm going to say. So we were friends at the time. It was during COVID, and I'm sitting in the studio and I'm working on music, and I'm dumb stressed because I stress a lot about my art. I stress a lot. It's just my thing, which is bad, but I do it. And she looks at me.
I'm on FaceTime with them because I'm still in Chicago.
Yeah, and I'm just not in a good mood. Me and my like, that girl at the time broke up. It was a long relationship.
Yeah.
I was really upset, and you look at me and you go, you don't know what the sound of your own soul sounds like.
Yeah.
You know, like, you don't know the voice of your own soul, something like that, and you don't get how much that impacted my life. Like, that moment right there is, like, one of the most pivotal moments in my life in terms of my mental health journey, because I lost who I was. And throughout my life, through all the pain, throughout all the struggle, throughout trying to make sure everyone around me was okay before me, through everything we were dealing with. And I lost myself, you know?
Yeah.
And when you said that to me, I made it, like, my life mission. Like, it was 4 years ago. And I finally feel like I have an idea of what my soul's voice sounds like.
I know, and I could hear it. It's all over your new album too. Yeah. I can hear it. I love you for that.
I love you.
But, you know, like, one thing, and the last thing I'll say to that is, like, we've gone to a point in our society, unfortunately, and I'm sure that we can come back from it just like anything else. But, like, we've become very divided. So every time that somebody tries to tell us something, we feel like it's coming from a place of righteousness. And so we don't want to listen, because we're like, I don't know you. Why are you trying to give me advice? I don't know if you're even someone I want to be like. Why are you giving me advice? But sometimes when people point out things to you, sometimes, and you have to be a very intuitive person to know when, you know, because not everyone has the best intentions for you. But sometimes when people are telling you certain things, it's not criticism and it's not advice. They see in you what they see in themselves. So for me in that moment, I wasn't, and I think we both had that understanding where I was like, I recognize this. Yeah. I was like, I know what this is because I'm same. And I was like, you don't know what your soul sounds like. And that's why you feel lost, because even if it were to talk to you right now, you wouldn't know what it sounds like. Yeah. And I remember that moment was very, like, you say it was very impactful for you, but it was for me too, because after that, you and I went on that journey together.
Yeah. For real.
You know what I mean? Of figuring out what our soul sounds like. And we even made up, like, little characters for our soul, remember? Of, like, what our souls, like, if they looked like something or whatever. We used to crack jokes about it.
I do. I remember that.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Mine was Dalwood, remember?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Yeah, good times. But anyways, we could talk forever. I love you.
I love you too.
Thank you so much for being on my show. And I hope that if you ever do want to come back, that you do come back, so that people who do relate to you and who do see themselves in you could keep growing with you and could be comforted by your existence, because we love you. And to everybody watching, thank you so much, guys, for supporting us, for coming back and tuning into another episode. If you guys ever want us to do anything particular, like talk about a certain thing or a certain kind of guest or any kind of criticism, I'm totally open to it. Please let us know. I try to make the episodes better every single time in every way that I can, but obviously I'm still learning. And thank you so much to you guys for just making a safe space for me to also just be myself and have the conversations that I want to have. And until next time, bye.
God bless y'all.